can say this about season 4. It is going to be so worth the wait.
Nowhere, actually.
A wrecking machine. I'll take it.
I'm still figuring out my own style, Mark, actually.
It was great.
It took 2 minutes and I had to answer, yeah, go for it.
Are you sure you're not interested? I was like, don't ask me again. I can't refuse that twice.
In Holland, in one country.
She got me so deep and underwater, and I drank it. That's not good.
You'll try chocolate from South Africa to Australia to England. It will taste so different.
So it's been really amazing that it's been with you after 10 long years.
The first title we were messing around with, we were going to call it Lockdown. And then after a while, we actually kind of realised, God, this is dragging on a lot longer than what we thought it was going to be.
I didn't want to give people a reminder.
Our bass player has a band. We were like, let's go on the road, man. But and then it just came to a screeching halt.
We had to work on like how I was biting the carrot. Like I had to do it very purposefully, you know? You didn't want a weak bite, but you didn't want a bite that was too strong.
Someone jumps the stage and one of our techs just body slams him to the ground and you can see me kick him.
I guess I was too distracted. I was having too much fun. Never a bad thing.
Hello, everybody.
Hi. Hello.
Hello, Mark.
I'm Terri Nunn.
I'm David Diamond. I'm John Crawford. We are Berlin, and you are watching Eclectic Arts. Lucky for you.
Good afternoon, good evening, good morning. I'm Mark Sugiyama from Eclectic Arts, based here in Seattle, Washington. Thank you so much for joining me on this Friday, the 16th of April 2021. And yeah, I'm really excited to talk to my guest again. I had a chance and the pleasure to interview her and her bandmates back in 2019 here in Seattle. And we're going to talk about all kinds of wonderful things, including the event that's coming up. So let's get to my introduction. My guest today is a legend and pioneer in the music world. She has mesmerized audiences for decades with her music and performances. She has a wonderful event coming up on Thursday, April 29th. Please welcome to the Eclectic Arts virtual studio, Ms. Terri Nunn of Berlin.
Hi.
Hi, Terri. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. It's so good to see you again.
Thank you. I enjoyed watching your intro. I had never seen it before. You've interviewed some cool people.
Oh, thank you. I've been really, really fortunate during this last year to virtually meet all kinds of people from around the world by doing it. So. And
they also, a lot of them had better backdrops than I've got. This is welcome to my kitchen.
Terry's Kitchen. It kind of sounds like a show on Food Network or something.
Yeah, this is where the magic happens. No, this is where my computer is, and I have a really nice view out the window of Santa Rosa Valley. So yeah, this is where I talk to people and connect, and it's really cool.
Okay, yeah, but it looks really good because you have the nice natural light coming on you from your window and everything.
Yeah, it's natural light, sunlight. So how's it in Seattle? I've got a lot of family out there.
Yeah, you know what? It is absolutely gorgeous in terms of the weather right now. I mean, we're pushing like 70 degrees right now, which is unusual for us up here for sure in April. And then, things are starting to slowly open up in terms of COVID. So people are getting a chance to kind of get out a little bit more. So hopefully, knock on wood, we keep moving in the right direction with everything. And eventually we can have more and more live events open up. And it just feels like there's a little bit of hope now.
Yeah, I know. It does. It feels like it's starting to lift. I got my first shot. My next one's the end of this month. And there's a relief, My husband's got his. It's just a relief of, oh my God, there's finally a light. We're finally going to be able to be together and hug and share and dance and laugh and all the things that got taken away, for a while.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm due for my second shot at the end of this month as well. Yeah, here's to us not having any adverse effects from anything. I was fine after the first shot. Were you okay after your first one?
Yeah, it felt like someone poked me really hard in the arm for a day, and that was it.
Very, very easy to deal with that.
Yeah, I'll definitely deal with that. I'll deal with pretty much anything if it's going to end this for us. You know, it's important. It's really taught me a lot about what's important. You know, especially because this happened. You know, we were really busy up until March. We'd just put out Transcendence, the latest album, and we were touring, and then, you know, screeching halt, and I was home for the first time this long since my 30s. And wow, the great thing about it is my relationship with my daughter improved so much that I thank this time, because you know, she's a teenager and she's going through a lot, and I was always so busy, and I realized that I wasn't there enough for her, and now I am. And having this relationship with her open up is worth so much to me that I bless this time that happened for that.
Wow. That's amazing, and I think it's something that it's you know, one of those silver linings I've talked with some other guests about, and you just said it perfectly too about this time has allowed myself personally to figure out what actually is important to me, because you had nothing but time to kind of think about things.
Yeah.
And like in your case, it worked out really well because you could you know, reforge that relationship with your daughter and make it stronger. And it was like, if this had not happened, you'd be still really busy, like you just mentioned, you know, doing promotion, doing shows, and just busy. And so, yeah, here's one of those nice pluses of it. And like I mentioned, for me, I've done, where's the number? This is number 167 live streams I've done since May. And I would never have connected with people during this time. I would have been at shows, and as you would know, at concerts and all the other arts things that I do. But it's like, well, what am I going to do? I don't have anything to go to. I can't go anywhere.
Right.
And I just got super lucky that a band from LA called Alice invited me to join their virtual tour. And so I opened them up with interviews. So had they not asked me, there's no way I would be doing any of this stuff, because it was the furthest thing from my mind.
Right.
But I'm so grateful and thankful, and that I'm one of those people like yourself that can say, hey, I had a really great silver lining during this time. And I understand that people have had some horrific times during this. I'm not going to make small of that whatsoever.
Right.
But there have been some pluses. So I'm just, you know, hanging on to those and so thankful and grateful for them.
Yeah. Yeah, it's important to remember that there are gifts. You know, the universe is benevolent, in my opinion, and there's always a reason for things that look awful in my life, and it always has been reasons. It always has ultimately been for my greatest benefit and happiness, and it's worth keeping that in mind when hard. I mean, God, we haven't been through anything like this in our lives, you know. Nobody. This is a novel for America, and for the world to have it at the same time is really novel. And I feel it's brought the whole world together in ways that we never were before. And I don't know anything else that would have done that, you know. So yet another silver lining that I hope we can continue with, you know.
Yeah, no, and you're right. In my lifetime, I can't think of anything that's brought you know, different countries together, you know, literally in the world, because we're all going through the same shit, basically.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
And finding out how much you miss live events, things that you don't take for granted anymore. I know I was guilty of that. It's like, oh yeah, I've got 2 shows this week. I'm kind of tired. I won't go to another show for another week. I can always see one later. Maybe they'll come back on the next leg of the tour and that kind of thing. I'm not going to be thinking like that anymore.
Yeah. So the idea for this event at the end of April came up because, we're not playing again. Well, we start again in July. That we have some bookings, and of course, everybody's hoping that they'll happen from July on. In fact, we're putting together an orchestral tour because of Strings Attached, which came out at the end of last year, and it's Berlin playing with a symphonic orchestra, with the symphony, our hits. And so we're putting together shows with philharmonic orchestras in different cities around the country. But in the meantime, still sitting around, and what's a great way to connect with people? And I came up with the idea of wine tasting with people so that we could get together from all over the country and toast the end of this fucking time and the beginning of a new time. So City Winery jumped in. They're a company that has venues all over America, and we played a number of them. We played it in Chicago. We played it in, I believe it was Atlanta. And so they're sponsoring it. And so we're all going to be able to have a glass of wine together, have a drink together, and connect. And then I'm going to play. And we don't often play Berlin acoustically. So yeah, it's going to be not a full show, but a nice show, and just be together for a night.
Yeah, no, it's going to be amazing. And for folks out there, again, it's taking place on April 29th. You have until the 21st, which is next Wednesday, to get your order in, and the link is right in the YouTube description. So once you're done watching our video, you can go to the hyperlink, and they'll take you right to City Winery's page, where you can get one of the last few tickets that are available for the tasting, which is going to be amazing. That it's a tasting for two. There's 4 different bottles, and one of them is your own wine. So it's let me try to get this right.
Well, actually, yeah, here it is. I've got my own wine now. It's a cab. I'm a red girl. And so they put this together for us, and it's a 2019 Terri Nunn Cabernet Sauvignon. That comes in with all your bottles of wine that you're going to get for this tasting. And it actually isn't tasting for 2. You can invite all your friends over, and you can all taste. It's 4 wine bottles. So yeah, you can buy 1 ticket and invite your friends and have a party at your place with all of your little tasting things. And they're going to have a sommelier, and he's going to tell us why we should like these wines, where they're from. And I don't know a lot about wine, I just like it. So he's gonna help us with what we're drinking to know about it.
Nice, yeah. And for people out there, you're going to have so you have your cab, you're going to have a Sauvignon Blanc, a Rosé, and a Pinot Noir coming in that set of 4.
Right.
So, yeah, like Terri just mentioned, if you want to have a bit of a party and have some more people come over to taste all these wines with Terri, plus you get an acoustic set of Berlin music, I mean, that's going to be freaking awesome.
Yeah, I'd love to. And what I love as much as the wine itself is just seeing everybody and whoever wants to share. And we're going to have some time for that. And I'd just love to. It's great to just connect. It's a while. Connecting is a huge deal to me now. My friends, my family. It's cool. So yeah, but you got to order it by the 21st so you can get your wine in time for the event, so you can drink with us.
Yeah, no, and this is, I mean, like you mentioned, you came up with this idea of doing this, and then City Winery kind of jumped in. Is this pretty like a new concept? Because I haven't really been familiar with any people or musicians doing a virtual tasting with other people.
Yeah, for me, I've done wine tasting. I've hosted them before, but we do a cruise every year, the 80s cruise. And that's where I've done the wine tastings, and they're a blast. They sell out. People are just having a great time. We have a sommelier because they have a lot of great wines on the ship. So they're showing us, what we're drinking and why the boat picked these particular wines for the guests. And so I've done them, and that's what gave me the idea that, well, why not here? why not together here?
Yeah, and I mean, this might be too far out into the future with question marks still kind of looming. But do you think there might be a chance you would do a second one, like in the fall or something like that?
I don't know. Let's see how this one goes. Let's see if we have fun. I mean, if it's fun, yeah, I'd love to do it.
Yeah, I can. For me, I'm just totally picturing in my head like it becomes like some sort of series when there's time for you to actually do these. Like, here's the second one, here's the third one next year, and that kind of thing.
You've got a business head, Mark.
Yeah, and I think it's also be just amazing for fans to be able to partake in something like this, especially if they know there's like more coming. They can do. Oh, I did the first one, I did the second one, I did the third one. I'm a fanboy like that, so that's where my mind starts going.
Yeah.
And so, like you said, you're a red girl. You like reds, and I was thinking too. This is a total aside, but one of the nicest things that's happened to me doing in-person interviews before the pandemic is that maybe on one hand I can count the guests that have offered me something to drink before we did the interview. You were actually one of those people. It just came to mind to me. Yeah, when I came onto the tour bus, you asked me if I'd like something to drink, and I was like, well, if it's not too much trouble, I wouldn't mind a beer. And you gave me like, I won't say the name of the beer, but you gave me one, which was really, I don't forget those things. It might seem like a small gesture, but to me, it's huge.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, we usually have beer and wine on the bus. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. My mom taught me manners. I'm still learning, but cool. I'm glad I did that. Was it good beer? Wasn't shitty, was it? Okay.
No, it was. It wasn't shitty, and it was. I remember that day because it was like in the low 80s up here in August. It was outdoor sold out show that you guys did, and it was a beautiful, beautiful day. And so that was just like the little tip of the iceberg or icing on the cake for me that I got to interview you guys, but then you offered me a drink too, so I'm like, oh, that was fucking cool.
My dad's from the Seattle area, and he used to say, in Seattle there are two seasons, rain and August. Is that true?
Yeah, that's pretty much true. And I think it might even be more true now that we tend to have a lot of what's the other joke was that our state flower is mildew because it rains so much. Yeah,
that's a good one. Oh
my
God.
I've lived here all my life, and so like what your dad used to say is that I don't remember growing up where summers were like in triple digits here, but it happens pretty regularly now.
Really?
Yeah, we get California type temperatures like around that July, August time.
Wow.
Do
you like it?
No.
No, you want your mildew back.
Yeah, I want something in between. I like the sun. Like today's perfect. We have some sun. It's like maybe hit 70, no problem. But we still get the 80s or 90s. Triple, no. Most places up here, as you probably are aware, we don't have AC at all.
Right.
So you just sweat, or you try to hide out in some place that does have AC, in the grocery store or some restaurant.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah. So with your cab as being a limited edition, and you said it was 2019. Did you get to pick then like the type of wine that you wanted? Did you go through a bunch of ones or?
Nope. Nope. I told them I like cab, so they picked one of their cabs. I know I like the wine that I've had there. It's one of my favorite shows to do with city wineries, venues, because of their great wines. And this says it is. I have no idea. It's a cab, but it says our city winery grapes are sourced from the best territories available for each variety, over 15 different world-class vineyards in California, Oregon, Washington, and New York State, as well as Argentina, Chile, and Europe. Wow. So they've got a lot of sources.
Yeah. Okay. It's like
this picture is actually the cover of our orchestral album, Strings Attached.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they used. They grabbed that and put it on this wine. So yeah, it was very cool.
Well, and if we've got about 10 minutes or so, and I'm just it'd be great to kind of talk about Strings Attached since that came out. And with and you mentioned that you have some shows coming out that are going to be partnering with other orchestral groups to work with Berlin. So when did you guys like put this together? Was it before the pandemic, during it? How did this kind of come together?
It was before. We were about to go out on tour to promote Transcendence, because that came out in 2019 in August. And a company from England contacted us with this idea, and I fell in love with it immediately because I've played with orchestras 3 times in my life. And honestly, the first time it happened, I cried. I've never heard Berlin music sound like that. It was so big, so huge, so majestic, so lush. And so when this company approached us, this was in 2019, we said, great, but we're about to go out on tour for Transcendence, which is coming out. And they said, no problem. Why don't we record it now, and then we'll put it out in the next year. We'll wait a year and put it out. So I go, okay. So we did that, and then I forgot about it. And this 2020 in September, they called and said, all right, we're putting it out in a couple months. Oh, okay. As this whole pandemic's happening, it's like they said, it's fine. We don't care. We're doing it. So they put it out, and it's doing really well. So I am grateful. We have yet to be able to promote it, to tour for it, so that's what we're doing now, is putting together the shows for that album so people can hear it, because it's the 7 charted singles that we have, plus 3 other cuts from Berlin's catalog. And it's pretty amazing.
That's awesome. I've had a few chances to see some bands and artists that have playing with an orchestra or a symphony, and it takes on a whole other level when you get to hear that, especially the arrangements and how it melds with the music, and in this particular case with your voice. Wow, so I can't wait to actually get a chance to actually hear that live in person.
Yeah.
It's going to be amazing. And for folks out there too, Terri's mentioned Transcendence, which is this, which I have. Actually, and this is actually the signed one from the show that I was at 2 years ago.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and amazing album, original material. So folks, if you're thinking, what are they up to? This is what Berlin's up to, and it's an amazing album. So, and I'm not just blowing smoke because I'm talking to Terri. It's actually true. I've been listening to it a lot for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we have wine, we have orchestral shows coming up. Is there anything else kind of on the horizon, or just too early to tell?
That's a lot. That's a lot. I mean, it's an unusual situation to have too much to promote, because we didn't finish promoting Transcendence, and now there's strings attached. So we have singles backed up and videos backed up, ready to release, and we're going to wait for the next single from Transcendence to release it when we start playing again, starting from July on this year. So yeah, it's another. We were approached for another studio album, but we haven't finished, with this one, with enjoying and putting out there what we have done. So that's gonna take us into next year, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's true. It sounds like it. Like you're saying that when everything got put on hold, it's like, well, we're not done. We were right in the middle of our cycle. Let us finish our cycle, and then we're talking about things beyond that. So,
but if people want to know, where we're playing and what's going on, they can go to berlinpage.com, and that lists all of our shows and events and everything that's happening, that's coming up.
Yeah, for sure. And again, for people that want to get in on the wine tasting, it's happening on the 29th of April. You need to buy your bottles by the 21st, which is next Wednesday. So you've got roughly 5-6 days in there. There's a few spots left, not many. And you're going to get 4 different bottles of wine that you get to do a virtual tasting with Terri. And you also get to hear an acoustic set of Berlin music at the same time during that tasting. So this is a really, really awesome, unique event for fans. And also if you're a wine connoisseur at the same time. What a nice marriage of things.
Thank you. And thank you for having me on your show. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for taking the time. Yeah, I hope that you continue to do well and stay safe and do well with your second shot in a couple of weeks, and that the wine tasting goes amazingly well so that we can have more of them, and that the shows happen in July and beyond, and we just get back to what we love.
Yes. Best of health to you, Mark.
Thank you.
Keep it up, man.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Terri. Take care down there and stay safe.
Okay. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.